We're joined by Eric Mandel. He is the director of the Middle East Political Information Network. Eric, good to have you with us.
Happy to be here.
All right, let's start off firstly with one question that has been bothering me is how was the CIA report leaked in the first place? And what do you make of it being leaked?
I agree 100%. The whole idea that the CIA, which is a secretive organization, which works for just like any other cabinet part of the government, should report to the president, works at the pleasure of the president to a large degree, and then we'll have his national security advisor, defense chief, the State Department, put it all together, and then come up with an answer. The idea that it was leaked and they went around Trump. First, that Trump wasn't as outraged. We didn't get 1,000 tweets that he was outraged. But the fact that it was leaked sounds to me that they wanted it to come out. So if they wanted to come out, I think they felt that it was inevitable that it was going to come out, and they wanted to get ahead of the curve. So this may have been some damage control that they let it out.
So more damage control than a political agenda against the administration.
Well, the political agenda, the politicalization of this issue, which is bipartisan, the hate truppers on both sides of the aisle who are there are trying to embarrass the president about what's going on. They're trying to say that we want a transparent process, and that is really not necessarily what's in America's best national security interests.
Yeah.
It goes back to, is this a value-based American foreign policy, or is this about American foreign policy interests that sometimes are realpolitik? I mean, we rehabilitated the Saudis after 9/11.
Right.
It shouldn't be impossible to rehabilitate them over the Khashoggi affair. And I think what's basically happening is we're seeing a triangle. We have Iran, Yemen, and the Khashoggi affair is going to be, what I think it's going to be, is they'll say, leave Khashoggi alone, leave Mohammed bin Salman alone, but we're going to acquiesce on the humanitarian situation in Yemen. And don't forget, King Salman today, when I read his speech, he was most interested in talking about Iran, almost a veiled threat. Just remember, You need us. And we have the Straits of Hormuz near us also. You need us regarding Iran. And oil, 40% of the world's fossil fuels come through there. So I think that for American national security interests, we have to learn how to preserve this relationship. The question is, how do we make that happen and make people forget about this?
And Eric, the point has been made that the U.S. has lots of allies with questionable human rights practices. Turkey, for example, where this whole incident went down. Well, President Erdogan is not exactly known for his just treatment of journalists and dissenters here. Allegedly has over 100 journalists in jail for their involvement in the coup against him, as he says. Turkey is a NATO ally. On the other hand, you've also got China, which people are pushing for better diplomatic relations with. China also known to have many human rights violations. Very recently, Muslim minority Uyghurs held in retraining camps, and yet those issues aren't pushed forward. So I hear the point that sometimes it's better to look the other way. But if the U.S. is in a position that it now has to take some kind of stronger political action, diplomatic action, what could that be that doesn't push the Saudis too far?
So I think the possibilities, the French are coming up with some of their ideas. They're thinking about sanctions, even though the French don't want to endanger their business relationships. So it's going to be about arms. Will they hold up some arm transfers? The Saudis buy more arms than the next largest country buying arms from us, which is Australia. They're over $3 billion a year.
So is that cutting the U.S.'s nose to spite its face there?
I think it would be just temporary. I mean, you can talk about freezing some contacts with some people. I think they're going to have to throw some bones in there to make it. They basically had these 12 or 18 Saudis that they were putting sanctions against, but these are the guys that MBS is going to execute anyhow. So, the Saudis are not people that we deal with who share our values. They are important to deal with. Truth be told, if they were like Yemen and didn't have fossil fuels in a geographic place that was vital to us, we would throw them under the bus now because we were all appalled by this alleged killing Khashoggi. But there are so many things that are inconsistent here. The idea of the Saudis, they're not stupid. Why did they kill him in that way? They could have just gone by on a motorcycle and shot him somewhere. The idea that the CIA all of a sudden is releasing things that they don't normally release. I think we all have to step back and realize there's more to the story and more of what's going on right now than makes total sense to us. It's not so clear. People want to make it black and white. But again, in this part of the world, we're dealing with five-dimensional chess. And preserving the Saudi relationship is vital.
Yeah, and to your point, there are a lot of interesting situations, like why it was so conspicuous. But I guess we'll see how this develops. Thanks for your analysis, Eric Mandel. Appreciate it.